welcome to my YouTube channel, Lessons with Guitar Man. My name's Aaron, and I'll be your designated driver here today for this really cool song, Scotland. Now, Scotland is a tune by Bill Monroe. It's originally a mandolin tune, and I think it's just absolutely fantastic. This song has three parts, an A, a B, and a C section, and you repeat each one twice, or at least the way I've arranged it here anyway. And the thing that makes this song a little bit unique is that the little tag lick, or this thing that goes... that little motif that's in this song, it actually is in all three sections of this tune, which in the long run makes it a lot easier to learn because you use it at the end of the A section, the end of the B section, and literally the entire C section just repeats that lick over and over again. Now, if you actually listen to Bill Monroe play this song, and I'll put a link to that in the description below, you'll notice that he does the motif or the C section first, and then he does the A part once or twice, and then the B part once or twice, and then kind of goes through it like that. But for simplicity's sake, I just do the A section twice, the B section twice, and the C section twice. Once you learn that, you can go ahead and do it any way you want. You can play it like Bill Monroe, or if you watch other people on YouTube play it, you'll see that other people kind of arrange it their own way too. Also, you'll notice that I played this tune in the key of open A to give you something a little bit challenging and just a little bit different, and to get you used to playing in the key of open A. All right, well, let's go ahead and dive right in there and see what makes this thing work. All right, so starting off at the first measure, we're going to have a little piece of an A chord here, and that's going to be like that, just those three notes on 5, 5, and 6. And then we're going to do a little hammer here on the 7th fret on the high E string. I use my pinky, and then let your pinky off, like so. So it's 5, 5, 6, 7, 5, 5, 6, and then an open 2. So that whole measure together is going to sound like so. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, moving on to the second measure, we're going to have a 3, 2, open, 3, 2, open, 2. So you notice there's a 3, 2 open on the high E, a 3, 2 open on the B, and then a 2 on the G string. So that whole measure together sounds like so. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay. And moving on to the third measure, what you're going to see here is the third measure is exactly the same as the first measure, so there's nothing new to learn there. And then moving on to the fourth measure, you're going to see that the first three notes are exactly the same as the first three notes in the second measure, the 3, 2, open. And then we're going to slide from 3 on the B string from 3 to 5, like so. And that measure altogether is going to sound like so. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, so let's go ahead now and play from measures 1 through measure 4 slowly and see what that sounds like. So 1, 2, ready, go. Moving on to the fifth measure now, you're going to see that the fifth measure is exactly the same as the first measure, so there's nothing new to learn there. And then in the sixth measure, you're going to notice that the sixth measure is almost the same as the second measure, except the last two notes there on the fourth string sliding from the first fret to the second fret, like that. Okay, and one more time, that's 1, slide to 2, okay. So that whole measure together, or measure number 6, is going to sound like so. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay. All right, in measure number 7, you're going to have a 2, then 3 slide to 4, then a skip of the G and go to the B string here, then slide from 4 to 6, like so. And that whole measure together is going to sound like so. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, and moving on to measure number 8, or the first ending, you're going to have a 5, 7, 5, hammer onto 6, and then 7. And that's 5, 7, 5, hammer 6, 7. So 1, 2, ready, go. That's kind of a really common bluegrass lick that you hear a lot. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead now and play from measures 5 through measure number 8 and see what that sounds like. So 1, 2, ready, go. Now let's go ahead and play through the entire A section and see what that sounds like slowly. So 1, 2, ready, go. Now looking at the second ending, what we're going to have here is exactly the same thing as the first ending, so there's nothing new to learn there. So let's go ahead now and move on to the B part. Okay, in the B part, what we're going to have is a couple little strums on an A chord and then a few notes, and that's going to go like so. 1, 2, ready, go. Just like that. So it's going to be a down, up, down, down, up, down. Okay, and that's all just on an A chord or a piece of an A chord, 2, 2, 2. Some people play it like that. I like to play it like this. And then you're going to have an open 2. Okay, and that whole measure together is going to sound like so. 1, 2, ready, go. And moving on to the 11th measure, we're going to have a 3, 2, and then when you see that triplet sign there on those 3 notes, we're going to have an open, hammer, pull off. And that's 1 strum, like so, and then a 2 on the B string. So that whole measure together is going to sound like so. 1, 2, ready, go. And the 12th measure, if you look at that, is exactly the same as the 10th measure, so there's nothing new to learn there. And then moving on to the 13th measure, we do have a new little riff here, and that's going to go like so. You're going to have an open, 3, 1, slide to 2, open, 3, 1, slide to 2, and then last 2, like that. And that whole measure together is going to go like so. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, now let's go ahead and play from measures 10 through measure number 13 and see what that sounds like slowly. So 1, 2, ready, go. And moving on now to measure number 14, you're going to see that measure number 14 is exactly the same as measure number 10, so there's nothing new to learn there. And measure number 15 is exactly the same as measure number 11, all the way through the triplet, but then what you're going to see here is that slide again from the 1 to 2 and setting up that motif lick, which goes that thing. Let's play the entire B part through slowly. So 1, 2, ready, go. So the second ending, or measure number 18 of the B part, is exactly the same as the first ending, except if you notice there, you'll see the old 1, slide to 2, and setting up that motif again. And what happens here, if you look at the chart, is that's the setup for part C. Now what's cool about this C section, or the last part of this tune, or the third section, it is essentially the motif repeated around 2 times. And we already know how to play that, so there's nothing new to learn there. But let me go ahead and play through this slowly for you really quickly. So 1, 2, ready, go. All right, so now what I'm going to do is go ahead and play through this tune slowly 1 time so you can hear what that sounds like, and that'll be a wrap on this tune. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, well, there you have Scotland. Some final thoughts on this tune for you. Now, there's not a whole lot to say in the A part other than in the very beginning when it does the old... You kind of got to squeak from here. And when you hit that open E, you kind of got to jump back here, and that open E gives you time to do it. So you just have to practice going from here to here a few times, and you'll start to get good at that and see why that open string is so important. Okay. And then also at the end of the A section, we use the little motif, I like to call it in this tune, where it goes. Now with that, the only thing there is to say from my standpoint is I kind of do it using my pointer finger and go pointer finger, slide from 1 to 2, and then use my middle finger here. And then when I do the next part, I use these 2 fingers and go 3 to 4, ring middle finger here. Same thing again, and then put my middle finger here for the hammer-on. You can do that any way you want, but I found that to be the easiest way, at least for me. And then moving on to the B section, there's not much there, just that thing. But the next time around, when we do the... Pay close attention to that. That's kind of a little bit of a finger twister at the end there. Having to go up like this to grab that last note. It's a little bit challenging, but after you do it a few times, you'll get it. And then the C part, there's not much to say there because we're just repeating the motif around 2 times. So I think this would be a really good one to take to your next jam session or gig. There's a good chance that maybe your mandolin player, fiddle player, dobro player, they may already know how to play it. It's good practice for you as a guitarist because you're playing in the key of open A. And overall, I think it's just a really fun song to play. I like the way it kind of moves along, and I think you're going to get a whole lot out of it. All right, well, that's a wrap on this tune. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. If you have any questions for me, feel free to send me an email listed below in the description. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll be seeing you down the road.